Hi, welcome. I'm so excited to do this live. I wasn't actually under the impression that it was me that was going to introduce you, Joe, and speak to you, Joe. So I was so jealous when they said that they've got Kaiko kids. Sorry, my dog is super loud. And then Rox told me it's me. So I'm really excited. So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just going to do a quick intro. So, welcome to our divergent discussion. I'm Karla Pretorius. I'm a psychologist by trade, but I'm a registered psychotherapist, and I'm busy with my PhD at the moment here in Portugal and Lisbon. I'm also the clinical lead for Caboose, and I absolutely love Caboose. And it's an inclusive and safe online community for neurodivergent people to connect, to learn, and to find purpose. We are built by neurodivergent individuals for neurodivergent individuals. It really is in our ethos. This is just a reminder for everyone that's here that the Divergent Discussions is being recorded right now, and we'll be sending out a copy to everyone that has paid for a ticket. We'll also have time at the end for audience questions. So if you have any of those, please do just write them into the chat box. I will try and get to all of those. Okay, so now an intro to Joe. I feel like I've known you, and I know we just met, but I've followed what
In
you've
that
been doing.
divergent way,
It really is.
I often talk about it as like a little spidey sense. We throw a thread to
We
one another.
have
I don't know how
we
else
should.
to describe it.
I think it's like a neuro sense, like a neuro love or something like that, that we need to coin in this sphere. Because it's
Yeah.
like when you go to somebody like a party or an event or something, I always find the other individual that's either autistic, an ADHD, or an ADHD. But anyway, so Joe Seymon, am I saying your surname correctly? Seymon.
It doesn't matter. It's Seymon, but that's fine.
Seymon, okay. Seymon is a keynote speaker and the co-founder of Kaiko Fidgets, which I love, a Melbourne-based business creating sensory regulation tools that are now used worldwide in homes, schools, clinics, and workplaces. With a professional background as an occupational therapist, which I also think is perfect. I think it needs to be the OTs that actually bring these things in for us, and a personal journey of late diagnosed autism and ADHD. So Joe's an ADHDer. Joe brings a deeply lived and clinical perspective to her work. She spent nearly 8 years in designing and sourcing tools that actually work, which is what we need. Tools that calm us, that help us focus, regulate, and provide safer alternatives to sometimes harmful behavior. Sometimes it's harmful for our egos and self esteem, the things that we want to do. So I think it's like an internal harmful thing. And sometimes we do hurt ourselves. Your passion or her passion lies in unpacking the why behind sensory needs, how different types of input impact our neurodivergent brains, and how sensory tools can offer real support for challenges like anxiety, emotional regulation, and stimming. Am I missing anything here from your
Wow,
background?
it's quite overwhelming to hear someone actually put it like that. I didn't write that.
I feel awkward.
I know. No, thank you. No, that's absolutely amazing. And the other little threads about Kaiko, I know there's questions coming up about it, so I'll share those as we meander through conversation. As do ADHDers, which will be
Yeah.
it's like below the 10,000 yellow brick road we've been through.
Yeah, I think it's such an important topic because I think stimming has been discussed, and let's start actually with the definition of it. So, if you have to kind of define what exactly is stimming for the listeners, because I think there's sometimes a not a misunderstanding, but sometimes it's also for us easier to then explain to others when
Yeah,
we've
sure.
heard. So,
Well, I think a lot of people, when they hear the word stimming, they tend to think of things like head hitting and flapping, which obviously form part of it. But stimming is a perfectly normal and natural behaviour for the most part that is born out of a need to self-regulate. So it's a self-regulative behaviour for most, or self-stimulatory behaviour. I can't say that word very easily.
it's a difficult
Stimulatory.
word. Yeah.
And it is often associated with repetitive actions. So it can be a whole range of things. It can be whole body. So rocking can
Mm.
be a whole body. stim, or it can be parts of the body, so it can be clicking, picking, or it can be an object, so using a fidget or a repetitive behaviour of something that's external to the body. And as I said, it can be things like hand flapping and rocking and things like that, which is often what people associate it with. It can be a whole range of other things like repetitive words. So some people will repeat a word over and over again. It can be like even a vocal stim. So it can be like and that could be born out of, again, that repetitive vocal, or it could be vibration. It can be visual. So like, fluttering fingers in front of, or spinning something. Can be like a stim as well, or tactile, which can be like rubbing something, or picking, squishing, and auditory is another aspect. So all our senses can be stims. So with auditory, it can be, and this is one that I didn't even see as a stim until I started to sort of look at it a little bit more extensively. Listening to a song on repeat is a form of regulation. I have a safe movie. I mean, in a sense, that is a stim. There's one movie. I don't know if I want to confess what it is, because it's.
Oh, you have to now. You started it.
Pitch Perfect.
Oh, right. Okay.
One of the Pitch Perfect. It's very safe. Like and for me, I don't watch any TV at all, so it's really bizarre because I side quest share. We were very blessed to be invited to be on the morning show last week, and in the green room was somebody quite famous, which I didn't know because I don't watch TV, and he was sharing that he was really excited to meet Kai because his son is always on our website and uses our products, and he said, "Can I take a photo of Kai with me?" And I knew he was having his makeup done, so I knew that he was obviously somebody of going on TV. And I asked the makeup artist afterwards, nearly fell over when I found out who it was.
Who was it? You have to say.
A film from Human Nature, and depending on your age, you may not know who that is.
I don't know.
He's an Australian boy, of my era. And I was just so.
Oh, that is hilarious. I'm so bad with noticing.
Yes, I don't watch TVs, but stimming can. Man, I'm side quested already. So stimming can be, something that is like auditory, or it can be visual, or So, but watching something on repeat is, or listening to something on repeat.
I have thank you for the side quest. That's actually what keeps us entertained as ADHDers or ADHDers. And we always bring it back. So we'll always come back to what is what our agenda is. But I was going to say to you about my song choices, right? So I had an ex that used to tell me, you always listen to these boring, like 1, 2, 3 songs. And I'm like, yeah, because it's safe. It makes me feel, I'd listened to this one band, Jeremy Loops, and then Anna Wolf a little bit because she's a bit out there, but Jeremy Loops is just like the same. It's like and it feels like I'm stimming while I'm listening to it. And some of the other stims that I know this is the first question and we're already getting kind of a little bit stuck on it, but it is interesting because I was always thinking to myself pre-diagnosis, like, I don't stim. And then as I'm thinking about it, I'm like pulling out my hair. And this is a thing that I do every single day. I pull out, I don't recommend this to anyone, but I just like pull, and then it's like this bundle of hair. And I'm like, wait a minute, this could be like my stim. And then the other thing is definitely the music. And I have a friend that goes like this the whole time.
Yeah.
It's definitely like that vibration.
And so really it's just a form of self-regulative behaviour that people engage in, and it's so varied. There's no right or wrong. I think people do often associate it with bigger stims, and I know we're going to touch on helpful and not helpful and that later on, but it really is something that's not specific to a neurodivergent person. It can be. It really is something that they say. I'm not really a statistical person, but about 80% of people are sensory. So most people seek sensory to self-regulate. Some people do not, but I would say that that's a vast majority. And often, even with, which we can talk on later, but often one of the common things people will share with me when they're talking to me about a loved one or someone that's in, like a significant person in their life that might be experiencing self-harm behaviour. When I show them tools, I always ask permission, but I usually demonstrate them so that they are hurt. Like I always ask permission to hurt them, but I want them to experience what the tools do in a safe way, so they understand. And almost always I hear, "Oh wow, is it wrong that I like that?" And they're surprised themselves. And to me, that's so important. Now, it's not for everybody, but so often pain, in particular, and I'll touch on that more later, why, but pain is actually really helpful for regulation and grounding.
That is interesting, eh? That's an
It,
interesting topic in itself.
Yeah, no, it is, and so it really demystifies. And one of the things I really like about people understanding it when they're concerned, if they can understand that it is actually understand the why or what it actually does in the brain, then all of a sudden they can support either themselves or the person that's feeling very broken because it's not what people like to talk about. I'm privileged to talk to people daily about self harm. But it's not something that people actively talk about
They
often.
don't. No,
No.
not
So,
even with me as a therapist. Like that doesn't. It's kind of like something that I have to notice and then gently go in there. But we were talking about it in at university actually, where I'm studying, and it's like the taboo topics are the ones that we actually need to go into because that's where the real harm lies. Like that's where, and this is touching on the misconceptions of people in stimming, why they do it and so on. But are there any other things? And I just wanted to add another question here. You talk about Kai. I don't think people know everybody if they don't know Kaiko Fidgets. Like, who is Kai?
yeah, sure. I think like later there might be anyway. That's what I'm like. Let me start again. So Kai's actually my son. He's now 19. He turned 19
Oh,
last week, and he is actually the founder. So Kai, at the age of 11, was getting my son is autistic. He has UFID, so he has restricted food. He's dyslexic, dysgraphic, and school has always been really difficult for him. Regulation really difficult. Learning very significantly difficult. And he used mainstream tools to help support him in school to both regulate and kind of keep focused. And by about grade 4, he was getting teased for using a tangle, which is a jointed fidget. Most people will be familiar with. It kind of moves. They're really, really. He still loves them. And kids were saying go play with the preps. That the bullying was quite challenging, the teasing. And he came home one day and he was crying, and I tried with him to hop online and see if we could find something a little bit more age appropriate that might be a bit more discreet. And we really couldn't find anything that was suitable. And so we started typical, OT mama me, like let's break the tool apart in terms of what is it about this tool that you like, and then what mirrors it, but in a more. And the tangle is jointed, and we came up with the idea, or he came up with the idea that bike chains are also jointed. So we bought some bike chain. In fact, the first one, we got some recycled bike chain just off one of our bikes, and it was terrible because it was all gnarly and like rough. That was no good. But then we bought some fresh bike chain and Googled, and it said to degrease it, you use, I thought it was a Carol or petrol. And oh my gosh, that was a sensory nightmare.
oh,
And then we broke some down and used a jewellery cleaner, and that worked. And anyway, so he made his first fidget, and he took it to school, and instead of being teased, kids actually started saying, "Where'd you get it?" And he said, "I made it myself." They didn't believe him. So he started taking them to school and selling them.
amazing.
And he got in trouble and had to give all the money back, which really annoyed
What?
me because they didn't give the product back, but he had to give the money back.
What? This is daylight robbery.
Oh no, it's just schools and the pragmatic nature of
Oh.
schools anyway. But I could see for the first time in his life, he actually felt really good. These kids, instead of teasing him, were wanting them. In fact, the main kid that was teasing him had one now and thought it was cool. And
Yeah.
so we started taking him to little craft markets, and he'd set up a little stall and sell his fidgets at those. And honestly, it changed his life. It was the first thing in his life that externally, other than his parents saying how awesome he was, and
That's
because most days he told me he didn't understand why he was here on this earth because it was that hard. And for the
oh,
first time, he felt amazing about himself. I watched him, all of a sudden his
yeah.
chest, um,
Right.
you know, was out,
Like
and happy.
blossomed.
And people were coming back after, to the next market and saying, "Oh my gosh, mate, look at my fingers! I've got fingernails now," or
That's
saying,
amazing.
"Oh, I find that hard. Have you got anything that's softer?" And we just started together, meandering through, creating new ideas and tools, and that's that's Kai, and that's kind of it
This,
accidentally happened.
that's amazing. That's such a cool story. Yesterday, I had a client, and she was talking about she needs to learn how to sit for longer. And I was like, well, obviously it's something that you need. You need to get up and so on. So if that's really a goal for you, let's make a nice, like a weighted blanket or something for you. And we Googled on Etsy and we were finding all these like really cool things to make. So we've got this long list of fidgets that we're going to start making, but I don't think it's going to come anywhere near your creative Kaiko fidgets.
They do, and actually, a lot of the fidgets we have, like there's a really nice portion of them have been co-designed or collaborated with clients. So nothing
That's
better than a
amazing.
real and lived experience need to actually create something that's something meaningful. And the cool thing about us is that it only needs one person to say something for us to go off and develop it. We don't
Yeah.
do, peer reviewed studies or we certainly review products and pull it apart, but we don't wait for it to be demonstrated to be a viable financial decision for the business because we're purpose driven, not
That's amazing.
the
Yeah.
rest is kind of not relevant. We don't, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome to know. So anyone listening can contact you and say, look, this is what I need it for. Like I'm pulling my hair out, for example. Like I might actually message you about this. Is there
Oh,
something that
number of tools.
do, do you have one?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay, I need to get that. I'm definitely. Do you deliver to Portugal?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Okay, this is happening. Okay, anything else about misconceptions? And also, I want to ask what makes a sensory tool actually work. So,
Yeah, so in terms of misconceptions, one of the it's not exactly an answer to the question, but a really important one, sort of sister sister answer, is
mm,
that regularly I'll get people. How do I? Like I'll use a specific example. I had a mum come to me and said, "My son runs his jaw as his stim was this," and she said, like, "What do I do to stop it?" And
mm,
um, the end answer was, it sounds like a you problem, basically.
yeah, you don't stop it.
But so we, because the questions that are important to ask around Simi is it harmful? So if he was
Mm,
getting, if it was impacting his skin or creating abrasions or creating jaw movement issues, then that makes sense.
mm,
If it was something that he himself felt embarrassed by
mm,
or was creating a barrier for him socially or at work that he'd prefer. Because the first
mm,
question was, is it something that's bothering him? And she said, no, well, I don't think so, but it's embarrassing. And I said,
mm,
is he finding it embarrassing? She said, well, no, but it's just so
mm,
obvious. So for me, I'm very person centered, and look, each individual situation is different, but
mm,
is it harmful? How's it impacting the person in their day-to-day life? If the answer is no, it's all good, then it really is the other person's. Really, they need to have a think about understanding, the why behind. Um,
mm.
so for me, a misconception often is that it's a problem that needs to be fixed. I guess
Yeah,
is a
that's it.
short version of that, which sometimes a replacement might be needed. And so it might be that your stim is flapping or picking skin, but in meetings that's challenging in a workplace. So finding an option or an
Mm,
alternative in that setting is absolutely doable, but at home it's still perfectly fine to do that,
Exactly.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that approach that it's not about finding appropriate social replacement behaviors. It's about the person if they want to change it. So for me, it's like I actually really like pulling out my hair, but I don't want to be bald because of this. So
yes,
there's a balance. Like maybe I can do it a little bit like a brush. I'm brushing my hair with my hand or my hair with my hand, but then maybe I have another option to also choose from. And I think that's a good approach for anything in mental
absolutely.
health. It's like you can do this is actually my PhD. This is I'm so excited to speak about it. I speak about it with everyone, but this is my topic is I want to know what science is, but I also know what the actual people are doing, the ADHDers. I'm focusing on women now. And then I want to put it together so
Yeah,
that we can see, oh, this is okay. So some people do this. 37% of people do this, but you can also do these other things. And I think this is where fidgets that are tailor made come really in handy. We both
yeah.
have ADHD, so I need to try and keep us on track, which is good luck to us.
But I will say, try fidget. As I'm working on a trichotillomania mania kit, but and I have other things as suitable. But one of the other things that I find often very helpful is paintbrushes. Often as like a trimmed down paintbrush in the pocket can help create some of the hair stim behaviour, like replacement if you're
Mm,
out and about. That was just a side share for you, but it will
okay, thank you.
with me. So
Yeah, I think it happens more often than we think. Also, when I share with my clients what I do, they're like, oh, I thought it was just me. And I think it's so good that your company is so open about, like, look, it's not just you. There are ways that we can help if you
yeah,
wanted.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
One of the questions was that I obviously jumped the gun here was Kaiko Fidgets started from a very personal point of view, and that's the story with Kai, which is beautiful. You've designed tools for everything from home to workplace settings. How do fidgets needs vary across those environments? So if you look at the different types of environments,
Yeah, and often people, when they think of fidgets, they think of spinners, or
yeah,
they think of,
like
a normal,
squishes,
yeah,
like
squishies are very common,
mm,
which have a place, absolutely. So for me, it just depends on what it is. A lot of people like auditory, if they like
mm,
ASMR type fidgets, they're also okay. But are they okay in a meeting? Probably not so helpful. So
mm,
to me, the context can sometimes determine. Really, it's about noise or how distracting it is for others. Sometimes it's a them problem. Like some people get distracted no matter what by somebody singing. Again, that can be a them problem, and it can be around education too. So, but if we lead with trying our best to use tools, which there are so many, and many we've created specifically around schools and workplaces that are quiet, that don't break. Because the other thing is, when tools are not robust or have a shelf life, like a normal squishy, like I love normal squishies, like I adore them.
yeah, but they break all the time. I've
They
sat in meetings and then the goo goes over my hand and it's a nightmare because I'm like,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need
So
to look
but
professional.
that's what I usually explain to people, albeit. So one of the things I'll often say about a traditional squishy, of which we do sell some of the, like Nidos and stuff like that, I guarantee you this will break. Like that's literally my
You're
guarantee.
just so honest. You're like, I love it.
That is, but it's the truth. They will
Mm.
break. And that then often leads to dysregulation. So when we're looking at tools to support someone's regulation, I think it's really important to look at robust options.
Yeah.
As, like, for example, speaking of squishies, not our products, but we sell them. We had the black ones made for us. We have animals and colours. This is called a Numi Squeezy Po, and it's a soft
Oh,
fabric
that looks
covered
nice.
squishy, which is amazing. But we
Mm.
also have our own range. Like we've got little mini ones
Oh,
and bigger ones. So a robust, washable, really easy, really
washable is also good.
they don't break. They're when I say they don't break unless they meet something like scissors. I was having trouble finding words. I was going to do
Yeah,
this.
you could do that. I play that game. One word starts with S. Scissors.
So, yes, because look, some of our ADHDs do get very inquisitive, I find,
Yeah.
and want to know what's inside.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we'll
Shake
break
it.
it. But, yeah, so for me, it's very much around just trying to, but until we came into the scene, there really wasn't a whole heap really specific for adults.
Yeah,
Suitable
that's it.
for older teens. So our stuff's suitable for younger as well, but we very much try and lean into tools that are appropriate and robust and don't break.
Yeah, that's what we need. And we need adult specific ones because we can't always like I'm fine with because I work with kids and I'm a child. I just pretend to be an adult. But I go in with like colorful stuff, but not everybody wants to. I have many clients that's not even disclosing, their diagnosis and they might just want to go in with something that's inconspicuous. Is a
Yeah,
big word for me with my Afrikaans.
it
I wanted to just head to the next one. So, some people worry that fidgets are just toys or a distraction. I think we did focus on that, like the
is.
why. So, there is a definite reason
And I
why
think
we
that's
created.
because for a lot of people, their only experience of fidgets are the things that you can get at Kmart or toy stores. And
Yeah.
albeit they are also tools that they can be used absolutely as a regular tool. Often they're not that robust, um, but there are other options. And
Mm,
you know, I dare you to jump on our website and not find suitable adult options. It's in fact probably the main criticism. Mostly, I get beautiful feedback. Is that it's overwhelming? Where do I start? How do I? So we are trying to like one of the things. It's just that I'm not very techy. Is to create some version of like choose your own adventure questionnaire or app where people can select like do you like smooth things or hard things like so you can kind
mm,
of as you go it then weaves you down to okay these are the things
sensor
that
profile.
but
Yeah,
I'm also really open anyone listening can reach out to me via email and
that's
share a
awesome.
little bit like if you were for example you've shared I like to hair twirl and I
Mm,
really enjoy it. If you sent me that I will overthink it like an audio HDR and I
mm,
will deliver you some or I might ask some more questions and because to me selecting the right tool up front is really important too.
yeah, of
Um,
course.
as an ADHD or if something doesn't work up front, I tend to throw the whole concept out. Like
Yeah.
even with designing tools, like one of the things I suck at is I'm so much dopamine in creating solutions. Then it arrives and I'm completely not bored by it, but I have no motivation to do the next thing and like put it on the website. I literally
Mm.
listed something last week that we created, designed, ground up that I've literally had here for 2 years, and I just didn't do the thing that meant that it was on the
Was it too
website.
long? Like maybe it was too long, like the whole process.
No,
No.
no, it was actually usually it's pretty quick with us. Like because I
Okay.
have a lot of patience, I literally like we'll often have a product within a couple of months of back of
That's
napkin.
awesome, eh?
So no, just no. Don't. I hate computers.
Mm.
So it's
I really like this combination of sensory, right? So I was speaking to my sister-in-law, who's a singer, and she and I wanted to create so I'm definitely going to speak to you about this because we want to bring in like little mantras as well. So we have like these songs that's like 30 seconds or less to decrease anxiety. And I love ASMR. I don't like it when people whisper to me, but I like the sounds like and
yes,
so I do the sounds a lot like when I'm anxious
yes.
and I think if like there's definitely room that I'm going to like give some suggestions to my ideal fidget and then you're gonna magically make
Yeah,
it for me.
yeah, and see that's the information that's really helpful, and
Mm,
that's literally the journey I love to go on with people to sort of help really identify, best fit, and because when you
mm.
get it right up front, it's really helpful.
Makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to stick to the questions. What are some ways fidgets can actually support things like anxiety or emotional regulation? Can you give some real life examples here?
I can, but I don't know whether it's a question, but I'd really love before that to actually talk about what's happening in the brain
Yes,
because that
please.
actually probably drives if you can understand that, then the
Mm,
rest kind of is self explanatory for each
nice.
individual.
Yeah, please.
So, And look, I'm going to simplify it. So the brain's really complex, as both you and I know, having studied, the brain a little bit in more detail. But so this is not a dumbed down version, but it's a simplistic version that actually I find makes sense. And I've had people, when I've explained this to them, say, I've been seeing an OT for like 6 years, and like literally you just explained it in, 2 minutes. Like, why do I not understand this? And it was just it was a self-discovery light bulb moment for us in our household that kind of journeyed. But the good thing was I had the neuroanatomy behind it that helped me sort of unpack it. Anyway, I'll just explain it.
Yeah, please do.
And I explain there's two main parts of our brain. Now there's lots more, but there's the front part of our brain, which is where we think, we learn, we process language. So at the moment, listening to me, you're having to activate this part of your brain. Often people refer to it as executive function or the frontal cortex. This part of the brain is the kind of, I refer to it as the bus driver. It's the thing that drives the bus most of the time that we need to kind of sit and concentrate in class or learn, or like if you and I are talking, for you to understand what I'm saying, you need this part. And then at the back of the brain, there's a thing called the amygdala, and it's the survival part or the instinctive part of the brain. And it is responsible for keeping us safe and alive. It's
brainstem, right? The brainstem. The brainstem.
And these two parts of the brain are not friends. They do not play together. Now, again, a little bit greater than that, but for all intents and purposes, they are not friends. And there's two chemicals that act as the light switch, turning one on or toggle the one off or on. And that's so when we perceive threat or experience threat. So if you touch something hot, if your front part of the brain is going, okay, the surface is hot, the hand is hot, you need to remove it. By the time it's done the processing, the hand's fully burnt. So the brain detects threat and instantly releases adrenaline and cortisol, which actually switches off the front of the brain. And I say it boots the bus driver off and allows the back part of the brain to take control of the human and instantly withdraws the hand. And it's instant. So that's real threat. But perceived threat, or when we're anxious or feeling overwhelmed, it's the same mechanism. Perceived threat instantly releases those two chemicals, switches the front part of the brain off and hijacks the human. And I often use the example because most of us can relate to it, like being in a social environment where we're feeling a bit anxious and someone's talking to you in your own language, but you can't understand them.
Yeah,
you
it's just
understand
like
that they're
sounds,
speaking English, but the words aren't coming. And often we think, oh, we're not paying attention, or it's actually that those two chemicals are kicked in and we're not in this front. And while we're in this part of the brain, there is no processing, there is no language. So, like, for example, when a kid comes out from school and hops in the car, and they might have been really perfectly behaved all day, and often teachers say, no, they've been an angel, they've been fantastic. They hop in their car, usually as mums, the first thing we say is, how was your day? And we get the explosion. Because, like they've bottled it in. And I often use a Coke bottle as an example, like when you're at, whether we work or school, or even just socially, like I'm shaking the lids on, it looks like it's a perfectly intact Coke bottle. The second you're safe and
we feel safe.
But when they hop in the car, they're in flight. Like they outwardly have held it together, but they're in flight. So they can't process language, and that attempt to try and draw out. Like there is no. So when someone's angry or dysregulated, trying to calm them down with words, with the exception of lack of safety. So say you've got a young child or somebody that's, doesn't understand hopping on, say, the road. Using words sometimes like stop, obviously for safety, but outside of that, words are very unhelpful when someone's dysregulated. I often talk with first responders or people, such as police, and help give them tools and equip them. And one of the most effective tools that you can use with someone when they're, for example, the example of somebody hopping into a car, a child from school, if you give them something to eat and drink, and I'll explain why, eat and something to do, those two things, so the brain's got high levels of adrenaline and cortisol. the mechanism to bring those two chemicals down so that the back switches off and the front comes back on is actually movement. Now, any movement. So it can be walking, jumping. They're actually like big gross motor movements are really great at reducing adrenaline and cortisol. It's often why some people exercise when stressed, or go for a walk, or punch, or fidget, or rock, or movement helps drop adrenaline and cortisol. And as we move and as they drop, the front part goes back. And often you'll see when someone's losing it, and say that they're really angry at home, yelling, and all of a sudden they switch into, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. As soon as you start seeing a correction, usually you know that the switch is kicked over because this is instinctive behaviour. This is like you can
way you can learn. Yeah, this is a really nice way to explain it. I love taking it back to how the brain works. I just want to add one more in there. If you look at the two different areas, so the brainstem, then the limbic system is kind of like where your emotions are, and then the prefrontal cortex is where the executive functioning happens. I would say, and parents do this automatically because we love our kids, right? But brainstem, am I safe? Then the limbic system, am I loved or can I connect? And then you can go back to what can I learn? So I think I have this little saying that I put my hand up like this, that's stop, that's the brainstem. Then it's the limbic system. Am I loved? And then it's like the prefrontal cortex. Now I can fight, like I can learn or whatever I can do.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's like but I love that how you explained it. But yeah, movement is the one that gets us through.
And the closest moving joint to the part of the brain that drops the two chemicals, which is the vestibular, is the jaw.
Yeah.
So something to eat. So whether it be chewing
crunchy,
gum,
something crunchy, crunchy.
So there are two things: crunchy apples, carrots. I often say chewing gum if they tolerate it. It can be vocal stimming. Some people do it through excessive talking, grinding, but chewing on clothes.
Yeah,
chewing
that's
on
such a big
on fingers. All of that, it is often, it's just the brain being super clever because it's the closest moving joint, so the most effective at actually.
Yeah, I don't even think a lot of people know this, that's why we're chewing our clothes so much, because people are like, oh, but it must be sensory. Yeah, but it's actually your brain trying to calm you down. We usually, if we just sit still and we look at what our bodies are doing, and we're like, oh, okay, now I'm nervous. So because I'm in this thing, and it's a live recording. So I'm like, oh, my body is actually tensing up the whole time like this. I'm like, okay, let me just go back, relax, breathe. And now I'm feeling better already. Just take a moment. This is the self-awareness is so, so important.
And self-kindness, because I think we often beat ourselves up when we feel less than or different. That's kindness. And often kindness starts with understanding. So when you understand your brain, you're not broken, that you're doing, your brain's actually being super clever in trying to regulate. All of a sudden you have a different, so when you start seeing yourself twirling your hair, you can go, oh, that's interesting. Like, I'm curious, am I feeling stressed? Am I feeling anxious about something? Am I starting, do I need a drink? Some of the core things.
What are we talking, like drink water, drink wine? What are we talking here?
No, I was talking about water, but just having a curious mind. But you can do that when you start to understand that these are often not. I don't like not the word symptomatic, but that's the word that I'm finding in my brain at the moment. But they're an external indicator of
clues.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I really love that explanation. I think that also gives us that clues then for the anxiety. That's when we can say, okay, you know what? With the hair pulling, now that we're bringing it up, it is me decompressing. So after a full day of sessions, I kind of that's how I self-soothe. So I know that, okay, I need to maybe play with my dog or take him out for a WALK. I can't say it now because otherwise I have to take him. Okay, what about your late diagnosed autism and ADHD? How has that shaped your approach in designing these tools?
Yeah, well, for me, so it was really perimenopause or menopause
Oh, that's right.
when I'm just on, so, no worries, thanks. Sorry, my son's friends
No worries. Hi, Kai. You can come and say hi. That's fine.
It's, it's life.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So for me, I always thought that I was ADHD, but like a very high functioning, high achieving, high masking, throughout life, and it didn't really impact me. But in vein of total oversharing, I had a total hysterectomy unexpectedly, and I train smashed into perimenopause, menopause, and all of a sudden the functional Joe was no longer functional. And you're about to meet my son because
Nice. Can I say hi? Hi, Kai. How are you? We're talking about your awesome.
This is Ko of Kaiko. So Kai is my oldest son, and this is my youngest, and he's the Ko of Kaiko.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm Karla. Like a lot of K's here. How are you? What shirt do you have on there? It's a cool shirt. What shirt is that?
Dystopia.
Oh, nice. Looks really cool.
And Kobe's doing a really great job of his favourite stim, which is rocking. So Kobe's a rocker.
Oh, that's amazing. I was just at my rock and roll friend's house last night. I should send you some photos. She does amazing rock and roll. Yeah.
Oh, no, I meant literally, he's a rocker.
Yeah, but now he's rocking it out.
Yes. Sorry, where were we? We were talking
about like your journey. So.
Oh, yes. So all of a sudden, what I was able to cope with, all of a sudden, nothing was working in my world. And often with a neurodivergent house, like we're the humans that are sort of just, and I often say I refer to myself as clag, we're the glue that holds everything together. And all of a sudden, my glue was like clag level crap. Nothing started.
Yeah.
And so I went to be assessed because I went to my doctor trying to convince him to give me ADHD medications without being assessed. I said, look, just give them to me. Hopefully they'll work. We'll see how we go. And he's like, nope, that's not how it works. So I had to go through this journey of assessment and was very surprised. Like when they came back and said, you're autistic ADHD. And I'm like, I'm surprised. And now I understand because they tend to fight. So understanding myself has really helped me understand how the interplay between those two aspects of myself and others, because I like things to be ordered and I like things to be predictable and safe. Yet if I could show you, and I won't, just because you don't need to see the dooms piles that are going on here is like.
We're just talking about doom piles with Sav from Color Me Neurospicy on here. She's got amazing course if you want to check it out with the doom pile. And she's got courses on it, and she was speaking on Caboose about like what to do, and she gave us like tidbits. It's really, really smart. Yeah, if you want to follow her, she's on Color Me Neurospicy, and she talks about doom piles a lot. Yeah,
And so for me, understanding the intersection between the two aspects of who I am, like mostly I often say my ADHD wins mostly.
Nice.
But there's that uncomfortable other aspect, other thing driving me that then brings in a lot of self-criticism because the need for order or safety. So for me, I think the surprising thing about late diagnosis is I'm a lot kinder at myself.
That's so good.
The other thing, and I think for many other people I've spoken to that have been late diagnosed, I am way less able to mask, which I think is a good thing.
I think you're surrounding yourself with the people that you can connect with authentically. I think for me as well, I even did a video once on that actually went a little bit viral, which wasn't good, but was about like that dinner guest. And I spoke about that dinner guest that questioned my diagnosis all the time. So she's obviously not a friend of mine anymore. But it's okay because that's how we filter of the people that we can be ourselves, and we don't feel exhausted from camouflaging the whole time.
People pleasing words. I've actually hit I won't swear, but I don't give.
Yeah.
I don't care what people
That's awesome.
Generally, like people can think what they like, but you do your filter. So I'm a lot kinder and less over the mask. Yeah.
That's awesome. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions left. So I'm going to shoot through them because
So
I know that we have 15 minutes and I want to get your feedback because you're so interesting. And I also know that you need to go at 10, so, or at 11, my time, 10. Okay. So as an occupational therapist, we spoke about this. How has it changed? Is there anything that you would give advice on to parents or educators who aren't sure how to support stimming in their kids or students? Like if there's like maybe just one thing that you feel
for
would
me,
be
it's again being person centered and
mm,
listening to the person. So again, very typically, often I'll have say a mum pick up something or a person pick up something, and they'll really respond. So, like for example, our caterpillar, which is Rolly Beads, they'll go, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" And their child or their partner will pick up something that's spinny or weighted or something else, and they're like, "I really like this," and they're like, "No, no, 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 no." So just
mm,
because we have a preference for you like ASMR things, and
yeah,
somebody else in your world might be an absolute hard no for. So I think just
exactly.
remembering that we are all different and have different needs, and it can change. So for me, I like this is one of my favourites when I'm calm or I'm feeling overwhelmed or sad. But when I'm feeling dysregulated, absolutely need pain. I
Mm.
require very
See, I
active
also,
contact.
yeah, this is, I just want to stop you for a second because it's such an interesting topic, right? So I do the pressure points, like the Chinese pressure
Yep.
points, right? And every time I'm in a meeting, I will push myself here where other
Mhm.
people would be like, that hurts. And I
Yes.
really enjoy it. And
Yes.
it's like, it completely, like, I can literally feel like I'm just like, oh, this is better. My
Yep.
physio has like this push, he pushes me somewhere here
It's
and
the
I fall,
anatomical shit box. It's called
oh, the what, sorry?
the anatomical shit box.
Oh my God, I love
It
that.
hurts.
Yeah, it hurts and I fall asleep.
Yep.
So it's good to talk about this because I think
Yeah.
people, we might
So
think we're weird.
pain is because it does. It grounds. It regulates. It releases endorphins
Yeah.
to counterbalance. And so whether it be emotional pain we're in or physical pain, by experiencing pain somewhere else can really help sort of divide and conquer the brain in terms of
Yeah.
processing. So similarly, the like for example, we've got a finger spiky, and if you put that on your middle finger and clench your fist, it absolutely similar. You'd love that.
Oh,
Um,
no, I'm going to spend all of my money on your website. This is
and
good
the
to
other
say
one
to an
is the other
ADHD.
we've got this one. I think this one would be a winner for you too. So it's two pads. This really hurts. So
Yeah.
when you squeeze it, it starts
This
biting
is,
you. I don't know if you can see my fingers.
yeah. I can see that
It's
it's
like
got
a
a little
little
bit of,
mini Shakti mat for the hands.
yeah, I've got a mat downstairs that I lie on at night. And I
Yeah.
actually want to see like how deep it can go.
Yes. Yeah. And so this has got
That's
tool, it's got the out and
amazing.
the support, which is more flexible.
Yeah.
Just because we are talking about safe ouch, the wrist spiky
Yeah.
is more on the wrist. It doesn't have to be, can be loose. It's a press and a twist, and it really hurts. As long as there's no
Ah,
active wounds here, this is really effective in helping replace cutting because it gives. And again, I tend to
nice.
try and take a stim or a replacement stim to the site. So, for example, with hair twirling, it's
Mm,
often this product, but we've got them as a necklace because your hand's going up to twirl and the neck,
mm,
something on the neck, your hand's actually coming past it. So when you're stimming with it,
yeah.
so putting the
Replacement
tool
like
is
that.
close to
Yeah.
where the sensory seeking behaviour has been gives it the best chance of success because
Mm,
you go there. And so
yeah, of
um,
course.
the disclaimer is if there's an active wound, I tend to say we need to allow that to heal and then
Okay. Okay. This is amazing. I'm so excited about these
we can
fidgets.
always do part two.
Yeah, exactly. Could we do part two? Because
Sure.
we're running out of time and I just want to know so much more.
All right.
Let's see how far we can get though. What do you wish more workplaces understood about sensory needs and stimming? And while you say that, I'm just going to open for my cat, okay? So
Sure.
I'm
Absolutely.
still here and listening.
Yeah. So for workplaces, I very much It's really just that it should be common practice, and that we should accommodate in ways. And just because somebody, whether it be workplace or school, just because someone isn't sitting still doesn't mean they're not attending. In fact, if they're doodling or using a tool, it's actually a sign that they're trying to increase focus. The brain's actually trying to maintain focus. So just flipping that conversation.
Mm. Yeah, nice. And also just doing, yeah, like more education, explaining like what it is. I think people just like a little bit more kindness with everyone. We're so different
Oh,
and we're constantly suppressing. So if people know that we're trying our best here to listen
yeah,
while so much is going on in our bodies, I don't think
absolutely.
individuals know. Okay. What about what do you think about the balance that the need for sensory regulation with social stigma or misunderstanding, especially in public spaces? I know we spoke about this a
I think
bit.
we kind of covered that. It's really,
Yeah, we don't
if
need to worry.
the person's wanting a replacement or wanting something to support them, and sometimes these tools actually are more effective at supporting them. It's just that there's, for example, cutting. People seek cutting because they need the pain, but there hasn't been anything else that they've been able to find that's given them once they get it, it's actually like it's incredibly liberating and relieving. Often people often people that have that tattoo often are people that have a high interest in
Oh,
handling
jeez. I have so
suffering.
many tattoos, Joe.
Yeah,
My entire
exactly.
back is full, and I love it, eh? Like I
Yeah,
get
and
tattoos
that's
too
something
from
like
my.
pain. Yeah, and that's okay.
You're like opening up a whole Pandora's box here. Like this is exciting, exciting business. I want to talk to you for hours about
And so,
this.
like, next question, go.
I think, yeah, I think we need to like schedule another call just to kind of talk about. I want to like schedule a consultation with you just so that I can
Not
go
a problem.
through. What about what's next for Kaiko's Fidgets? Like, where are there any new directions or ideas that you're excited about that you wanted to share?
Currently I'm currently working on a triple mania kit, although it's currently sitting in my overwhelmed basket because I asked the community what were their STEM needs, and I got so many, and I want to meet them all, and I can't make it all work in one kit that I'm feeling a bit like. I'm working on trying to replicate a traditional squishy, but with like more of the robust ones. So I'm looking at casings that you can. So yeah, and also looking at probably another space. And again, I'm oversharing here, but one of the spaces I'm really interested in helping support people because our needs are different, and it's still sensory. Is the area of um, uh, pleasure, I guess. Uh, you know, you know, sex is an important part of human
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, but I
Um,
was thinking about that when you were talking earlier
yeah,
about the
and
pain as well. It's like,
I talk
yeah.
one on one with people. I'm not a sex therapist. I'm not, but I very much do talk about that individually, try and come up with some solutions.
Mm,
Like even binders as being a sensory thing for
yeah.
those people that are transitioning, and like
Mm,
because gender fluidity and neurodistinctness
yeah.
often
Go hand
um,
in hand. Yeah.
work. Someone I referred to, yeah, anyway, that's a whole nother segue I could go.
Yeah.
Um, but
I think
it makes sense. But because was the founder, I really didn't feel outwardly that I could explore this until he was at least 18. Kind of
mm,
doesn't feel cool to have a separate.
yeah. He's probably like, not yet, mom.
Oh, he's still not yet. So it's in the background. But you were asking about
Yeah,
direction,
yeah,
and
yeah.
because to me, I don't know, it's probably an ADHD thing too. If it's taboo or off topic or people feel
We
uncomfortable,
need to talk about it.
bring it on.
Yeah, exactly. But not just because of our dopamine hits that we get. It's because we feel, I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like now I'm at an age where I can talk about the things that I always thought about. I was talking to my sister-in-law about spiraling and out there thoughts that we had when we were kids, and the thoughts that we shared, other people would be like, oof, this is dodgy. They sound a bit dodgy. But now we're sharing it. We're like, this is just our ADHD brain. And the same thing with sex. It's like it's not spoken about enough. I was also talking to Sav about this, like the sensory element. I am super
Absolutely.
sensitive to like fluids or anything.
Yeah.
But but if you get me on the other side where I'm actually enjoying and I feel safe with the person and
Yes.
it's playful, we
Yes.
have toys, it's playful, there's no expectations because it's the PDA that kicks into. It's such an important topic that we
Yeah.
definitely need to talk about. So I'm fully with you. I'm going to schedule another hour with you so that we could talk about sex toys and fidgets. I
We
can't
have
wait for that.
there's this gorgeous. Anyway, there's somebody else we need to include in that conversation.
Oh,
She's amazing.
definitely. Okay, definitely. Yes. I'm going to ask you three questions, and I just want you to, or four actually, and I just want you to fill in with like one word sentences. So, what's your
Okay.
go-to fidget tool right now?
For me, probably my groove stone, which is like a metal rubbing stone. So it's soft on
Oh,
one side
nice.
and abrasive on the other side. So it's kind of my two worlds collide. A little
That's
bit of
awesome.
ouch with a soft soothing, and it's wearable. So for me, that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's also like it's got a bit of a spiritual element to it, which I think a lot of ADHDers love too, especially ADHD females or women. What's a sensory input you personally find calming or regulating? Is it that same one, would you say? Or is it
For me, it's yeah, as I said before, either smooth when
same?
I'm feeling,
Mm.
but if I'm feeling dysregulated, pain.
Okay. Yeah. We're similar. Hey, complete the sentence. Stimming is
So individual. I don't.
so
Yeah,
important.
it's important and
Individual. Mm.
yeah, individual
Fun.
and common. Like it's
Needed.
yes, all of those things, any of those things.
We're like both like one word, like no, I'm not doing one word. Okay, and then last question, and then I just want to go through a few of these comments. But did you stim at all during this conversation?
Yeah, well, I've been rocking on my chair
Yeah.
and back
Okay.
and forth, and I've had a finger spiky in my pocket that I've been
Nice.
clenching on. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
actually felt very safe talking to you.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I haven't, because when I dysregulate is when I really ramp up.
Mm. Do you know what I've noticed? Both of us were anxious when we knew the time was running out, and we both struggled to, okay, like that. And then we calmed down by maybe using a bit of a vocal stim because we both slowed down and we went deeper, like with our voice. And that's one of the stims that I often use when I do conferences. I talk like a guy, like I'm like, hello, my name is Karla. Like I really go deep because it calms my voice. It calms my
Yeah,
body. Sorry, my voice
yeah,
calms my body. So, I
yeah, that's
noticed
got
that. I
me
was
better.
like, yeah. There was like, and then we went, that's awesome. And we made it in time. I just want to
Yeah,
tell
we've
you
got some questions.
this is like high five, five to us, yes. Okay, so Michelle said my son, my safe one is greatest snow showman. I don't know what that is. Is that
Oh,
maybe a
your safe show, Greatest Showman.
oh right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yes, yeah. I like yeah, that's a
Yes.
good one
I don't
too.
know that. I need to start watching
Oh,
that.
it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Mine at the moment, my safe show is The Rookie because it's The Rookie is just a show about an older guy that goes into the police academy, and it's kind of always the same. The story, like it goes in, there's something that happens, and then it ends up being fine. So I know it's kind of like Scrubs or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then Rox also said, my son chews his clothes constantly. We had cloth chewies for him, but now I'm curious. Is this a sign he's dysregulated a lot of the time? Is there something I can do to support him? Or is his body doing that enough for him?
So definitely oral stims usually occurring when you do that's yeah when you're in that more back part of your brain.
Yeah,
If you need because clothes destroying does happen, particularly school uniforms
yeah,
or and one of the things just briefly touching on shoes. Often when someone's destroying things, we often go hard and chunky. And the thing with chewing, if it's fingers that they're chewing on or clothes, or I tend to say what are they chewing on in order to define what is the best place to start. And it's
mm.
often collapsed. So this is a hollow chew.
Oh,
So this is an arc chew. These are an American product. We have them, but if you're in America, then just Google arc get it directly from them. This is their hollow. You have a range of them because the mouth is seeking collapse. And when we go, if we're destroying, even if they say, oh, they destroy all their chews, it's often because it's the wrong shape or it's too hard. And if it's too hard, you tend to go harder at it. Your mouth gets more aggressive trying to get the collapse. So often counterintuitively going hollow and softer
That's so
actually
important.
gives the need. Like if someone's using the finger, like using things in the back of the mouth, something hollow, like long, if they're, so the shape of what they're currently using will help me guide or help you guide what shape you need of the chew. Not, don't just go for a Lego shaped chew because they love Lego, because texturally there's a lot of bumps on that. And, so yeah.
Yeah, that's so important to not go for the design, but actually go for the function. Speak to an OT, speak to you, and then they can just go, what is your website that they can contact you through?
www.kaiko, Fidgets, Fidgets, KaikoFidgets.com.
Okay, amazing. I'm going to be the first person that emails you. I want to wrap up because I want to respect your time too, Joe. You're an absolute joy to speak with. I love this conversation. I can speak for the entire day. Thank you so much for what you do. And thank you for being purpose-driven and person-centered. That makes all the difference to neurodivergent people. We just know when somebody is there for the right reasons. And you are there because you're in with us in the community. So it's amazing. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for your time.
It's just been talking to a close friend. So
it feels like that. This is why I was like, I want to do this, Roxy. I want to do this talk, and then I was scheduled. Obviously, I didn't look ahead. Anyways, thank you so much for joining, everyone. If you weren't here, you'll get a recording. I just want to quickly wrap up and say thank you to the audience and Joe for your time, of course. And this is a reminder to our audience that we have a range of divergent discussions coming up. We're very excited to have Mom to Chloe Hayden, Sarah Hayden. So Sarah Hayden is going to be on, joining us on Sunday to talk about schooling with neurodivergent kids. That's going to be amazing. You can get those tickets through Humanitics or head to our website and check out our app for those. A reminder that if you have a paid ticket, we will send this recording to you. Thank you, everyone, and see you soon.
Thank you so much.